Chapter 11. Balance. The old witch had heard the children splashing in the river, and looked out at them. She caught the eye of the Jumbie just as she turned herself invisible and moved towards the water. "Shoot!" the witch whispered to herself. She did not like to get involved, but when the bigger boy started looking around as if something had touched him, the witch dove into the water at once. The color faded from her body as if it had been washed away by the river. In seconds, the witch was as transparent as the Jumbie herself, and as she reached the Jumbie faster than any river fish could swim. The witch rammed into the Jumbie, through the children's feet, and pulled her fast and hard back down to the river bed. She held the Jumbie there, pushing her into the sand. The Jumbie managed to get her feet under the white witch and pushed up as hard as she could. The witch lost her grip, and the woman swam up towards the children again. The witch could only make out the outline of the Jumbie's body as she cut through the water, but it was enough for her to follow. And now the witch was furious. She knocked the Jumbie away from the children. The Jumbie turned and dug her bony fingers into the witch's flesh. She bore down hard. The witch raised her right arm and struck mightily at the Jumbie's chest. At the same time she felt a sharp pain as her other arm snapped in two. Both the witch and the Jumbie floated away from each other as the children made their way back to shore. The witch had saved the children, but immediately she realized what saving them meant. From shore, Kareen, Drew, Buki, and Malik watched the water in the middle of the river churn. When it stopped suddenly and the last ripple broke on the bank, they waited in silence for something else to happen, but nothing did. "I want to go home," Drew said. "Wait," Kareen said. Her teeth chattered either from cold or fear, but the rest of her body didn't move. "Drew's right," Buki said. "Why are we waiting for whatever it is to come out?" So they all moved away from the water, but Kareen still watched. After a few moments, the witch surfaced on the far side of the river, sputtering. Her color had returned, so the children could see her clearly. With only one good arm, she struggled to reach the shore. She looked weak and ancient. Drew saw Kareen's muscles tighten. "No!" she cried, but it was too late. Kareen had already dived back into the river and was swimming to the witch. "She tried to kill us!" Drew shouted, but Kareen could see that the witch was hurt. Kareen was a good swimmer, though not as strong or as fast as her papa. When she reached the old woman, she grabbed her around the waist and pulled her the rest of the way to the opposite shore. The witch winced when Kareen touched her arm. Kareen took care not to touch it as she propped the old lady against a rock to sit. "Stupid children," the witch said. She swatted Kareen's arm away. "What are you doing here anyway?" "I'm helping you," Kareen snapped. "If I hadn't realized that it was a drowning person grabbing at us, we might have left and you would be dead for sure." "Get away from here," the witch said through gritted teeth. Then she yelled across the river, "Go home to your mothers." The witch's words stung Kareen like a lash against her skin. "You nasty old—" Kareen began, but a furious look from the witch made the rest of her words dissolve in her mouth. Instead, Kareen turned and dove back into the river just as her tears began to fall, and the burning sensation in her throat caused her to gasp. She swam as quickly as she could, gulping air every few seconds, so by the time she reached the other side, her friends easily mistook her red eyes and panting breath for tiredness from the swim. Kareen ran off with the other three behind. With the children gone, the witch breathed more easily. She relaxed against the rock on the opposite shore. The Jumbie returned her body to its visible form and wrapped the green cloth around herself. "You know what happens now," the Jumbie shouted across the river. "You helped them. Now you have to help me." She laughed out loud. "Balance," the witch muttered a curse under her breath.